Hello, guys, and welcome to the Cobx Master CSGO Grand Final! Woo! Yeah, exactly. That's the excitement I'm looking for. In confetti, we have a great best of three for you guys to see what team will take this magnificent trophy away. And of course, the check, which is a lot of money as well. So, if we can, we're not going to get the schedule on stage, if we can just proceed to the exciting matchup and start presenting the teams. Guys, please get ready for your seats and get ready to meet the teams for this final matchup. Starting out with the guys that we saw yesterday, they are a well-known Korean team. They are organized, they are skillful, and they're here to take this trophy home. Give me a hand for MVP PK! We have these guys now on stage. It is time to meet their opponents. This underdog team, nobody thought they could make it. In fact, they didn't even think they could make it. They were up here on stage yesterday telling me, nah, we're not going to win this game, to all their opponents, and now they're ready to try to do the same against MVP. Give me a hand for All for Red! We are ready for this match to begin, but guys, I gotta say, I can't really hear you up here on stage. You've been very quiet. Like, I've not heard really good clapping, so you really just need to earn this matchup. Do you guys deserve this final? All right, it's better. Not quite there yet. Do you guys deserve this final? Come on, give me a real cheer. Good, now we can finally get to the most important part, the trash talk. Let's go to MVP PK first. Who's going to speak for you guys? Yeah, all right. All right, so what do you want to say to your opponents before the final?
Feeling good. Yeah, just we're going to best our play. Yeah, just let's see.
No, don't be so humble. What's that? Okay, let's just see. Come on, give me something a bit more trashy. You got them right here. You don't want to say anything to them?
I can't talk trash to my friends.
Oh, what a sweet sentiment. I'm going to go to his friends now. How's it feel playing against your friend on stage? Are you ready? Do you think you can win this matchup?
Yeah, a little bit nervous, but I think they're better than us, but we will try our best to beat them.
They said that yesterday. They said that yesterday. They're better than us. Oh, boom, 2-0. So be careful with these guys. Can you guys come here for a friendly handshake before the game begins? Give each other, yeah, there it is. Beautiful sportsmanship. Now, feel free to go to your computers, you guys as well. Thank you for that. I mean, it wasn't really trash talk, it was more like friendship. Now, before the game begins, we will give you the quality analysis of the best CSGO analyst we could find, led, of course, by the host, Elfish Guy.
Thanks very much, Swordfish. Yes, we've got the best analysts we could find here. In fact, we've even got a shiny new one. I'll welcome everyone back to the desk. Blair, Daredevil, and as I mentioned, YB, coming all the way from Signify. Nice to have you on the desk as well. Now, I'm going to start with YB. Obviously, I've got the old guys there. We don't really care about them anymore. You're new. You're exciting. So I want to talk to you first. You got MVP, PK, and Alpha Red. You had these guys in your group, and now they're here in the final. I want to know what's your thoughts of this upcoming match.
Yeah, exactly. So we played both of the teams already. And for me, personally, I see MVP clearly for better than Alpha Red. But I think they can upset, like they already upset Greyhound, which was really unexpected for the most, I guess. So I think they can do the same here. But I still think like MVP is the clear favorite. And so I go with MVP for sure.
You'll go with MVP, all right. I think most
Yeah.
people are probably going to go with MVP. Now, again, interestingly, yesterday we saw Alpha Red when they had their conversation with Swordfish on the stage saying, oh, we're not as good as Greyhound, and then they kind of blew them out of the water 2-0. They've said the exact same thing here against MVP. Does that kind of raise some questions, raise some concerns maybe?
Look, I don't want to sound like an ass, but you know, most of these players don't really speak English that well, so probably, and they're a humble bunch of guys, they're friends, so I think that's what they say to everyone they play against. Like, I think they're better than us, but I think they're still, I mean, we saw what they did yesterday. They said we're not a noob team. That's what they said, and they definitely showed that they're not a noob team. They completely dismantled Greyhound, who are, in my books, the favorites of this tournament. Of course, for Jordan and you as well, Rami, I think you guys said that it's either Greyhound or MVP, right? Yeah. But I think Alpha Red right now have made a statement. I still do agree with YB that MVP are still the favorites here, but Alpha Red, from just being a dark horse, right now, they're one of the favorites as well.
Yeah, I mean, Alpha Red, we already knew they were underdogs. We didn't really expect them to come to the final, especially against Greyhound. But yeah, MVP are still the tournament favorites, so it's going to be a bit difficult for them. Alpha Red, on the other hand, when we saw them yesterday, they seemed really structured, a lot more than we expected. And I believe the casting desk actually mentioned that they're a lot like EU in a way, and that's kind of refreshing to see. But again, like, can lightning strike twice for them to be the underdog twice in a row and actually make it to win the entire tournament?
That's a real good point, actually. I want to touch on this with you as well, YB. Obviously, again, you played up against Alpha Red. You guys went down in the overtime, but was it kind of your expectation going into that Greyhound match that they were going to perform like that? And did they kind of exceed your expectations?
Like when I saw them going against Greyhound, I had a feeling like they can do it. Like clearly Greyhound was the favorite all the way, but I still thought like it's not that big of an upset that Alpha Red might win against Greyhound, but I think them winning 2-0 and that way they played was really insane, and that was surprising for me.
Yeah, stylistically speaking, was that kind of a departure maybe from what you guys faced from Alpha Red?
So I think when they played against Greyhound, they played maybe like even better. Maybe they were like more hyped than playing against us. Like I wouldn't say played better against us. Like I think it was a really close match. But I think against Greyhound they like showed like really insane CS basically.
Yeah, absolutely. See, we sort of spoke about that on the desk as well, saying that yesterday what we saw from Alpha Red was more or less the best CS we've actually ever seen from not only them, but maybe the Thai region in general.
Absolutely. I've been watching quite a lot of Asian CS, right? And one region where you see a lot of very good aimers when it comes to individual prowess, it comes from the Thai region. You have like Beyond, you have earlier on, you had Signature, you had Alpha Red right now, you also have this team called Lucid Dream, who keep beating Alpha Red in domestic matchups, right? And I've seen them a lot of times, and one thing they always lack is cohesion. And when it comes to the approach, like James mentioned on when he was casting yesterday, was how you go about the small little things in Counter-Strike, like flashing for your teammates, controlling the way you approach the map, getting map control, and not over-aggressing. These are small fundamentals. Like if you've been playing CS at a high level, it's like by default, right? When it comes to Asian region, especially Southeast Asia, that's something that's been lacking for a very long time. And for this team to just bring it out, especially against Greyhound, that just surprised me a lot. And I didn't see this from them on their earlier games they played, like on Train, for example, when they played against MVP and YBC against Signify as well. It was kind of little, loosey-goosey, so to speak. It wasn't like something that really impressed me. I saw at least the first map. I'm like, yeah, the CT side wasn't that great. Even the T side was like, individual plays happening over there. But yesterday it was like watching a completely different team altogether, and seeing even the players, like people like Olivia, players like Meryl's, like SDK. These are guys who usually pop off, but they struggle against higher caliber opponents. But yesterday just came to play, and I want to see that team here today.
I mean, bringing up that point exactly, that's kind of the topic I want to bring up as well. Will Olivia perform like he did yesterday?
Yeah, well, I think that's a very good question. Again, we talk about the Thai region a lot, and we're saying, okay, they're kind of on the up and up, but I feel as though it's been a while, or actually I've never really seen a performance like that from an individual player from the Thai region against an opposition like Greyhound.
Yeah, and sometimes you gotta ask yourself this as well, right? Like, could it be because Greyhound really did not seem to pressurize Alpha Red at all? Now, looking at MVP, I'm just gonna touch on MVP as well. MVP, when the way they played against Boot yesterday, and this is a Boot who've been looking pretty hot this tournament, right? At least in the group stage. And when they faced up against MVP, they just completely fell flat. They could do anything, and they just got completely, utterly shut down. And MVP played phenomenally. Like there were no flaws that I really saw when it came to MVP's approach to their on both the maps. Now, if you look at the way Greyhound played yesterday, they played scared. I kind of felt like they played like, we're going to win this, just how to play our games, take a step back instead of trying to, choke these guys, the Thai team out. Instead, they played it so very passively, and I think that's what allowed Alfred to get in. But that being said, these two teams, what interests me here, Jordan, is their map pools.
Very much so. Let's start talking about the maps. Very good segue. Thank you very much, Blair. I think it's time now that we can have a look at what maps we're going to be seeing, perhaps what we're expecting to see. Maybe I'll throw this your way, YB, as we were talking a little bit about the maps earlier. Have you got any expectations coming into this series, or is it kind of a bit more up in the air?
So I think it's quite hard for me to tell in this matchup, but I think it might be something like Overpass, Nuke, Train. I think that would be my guess, the three maps.
You guys want to throw something in there?
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the map bans, right? I think Cash is going to be the perma ban for MVP,
Yeah,
right?
for both of them.
For both of them, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them have the similar common ban, so to speak. The second one, however, I think Alpha Red just might go for the Nuke ban. The reason being, even though they like playing Nuke, you don't want to play Nuke against MVP. So I'm expecting to see a Cash and a Nuke ban coming out. Cash from MVP, everyone expected that. I think Nuke might be the next ban. The picks, that's where it's going to get interesting here. Inferno would be the pick if I was MVP. They are extremely solid on that map, and that's a map that we haven't seen much from Alpha Red so far. And for Alpha Red, Mirage, we saw them completely obliterate not Renegades, I'm sorry, or Greyhound yesterday. Not completely like on Overpass, but it was so good watching the T side. So I'm expecting to see Inferno and Mirage coming out. Yeah, Nuke ban from Alpha Red. And the final decider, this is where it gets interesting, Jordan. Overpass. Everyone would have seen how Alpha Red played Overpass yesterday. I don't think MVP is going to be feeling comfortable on that, even though it is their usual map pick. On the other hand, you see MVP's Dust 2 where they dominated Dreamscape, so that's going to be a map which Alfred might want to ban out. So I'm expecting to see a trade coming out like how we had in the best of one earlier. So I'm expecting to see Inferno, Mirage, and Train. I could be wrong.
I have to agree with you, Blair. I think you're a pretty smart guy, so there you go.
Thanks,
Maybe that
man.
makes me pretty smart as well.
Not
Inferno
really, but-
coming out there from MVP PK. No surprises, at least for both of you and I. Rami, did you have any thoughts you want to throw in here with the maps?
Yeah, like I believe if they're both perma-banning Cash, if you're certain they would actually ban Cash, then they may have actually tried to leave it in, allow Alpha Red to waste their ban on it, and then ban something they're less comfortable on as well. And but it is a risk. That's a big gamble because they could actually pick Cash knowing that MVP don't like it.
Absolutely.
But I completely agree with you on the map choices. I mean, I believe Train would be really good for Olivia, especially.
Yeah.
I mean, considering Greyhound, they gave him a lot of space. MVP really does need to lock him down. I feel like a map where he can't really expand as well would be a good map against them.
So we're expecting maybe to see an Overpass ban coming out here from MVP PK. What's the ban from Alpha Red?
I think they might just ban out Dust 2, right? The way MVP played Dust 2 yesterday, I think was one of the better Asian Dust 2 maps I've ever seen, right? They completely choked out Boot, and Boot are no minnows on that map. They can play the map very, very well as well, but they had no option. Again, Boot did not really counter MVP that much, to be very honest, but at the same time, they were just hitting all the shots. You could see Zine and HSK just going off with that op, Zeta as well. They have dual op setup going for them. So ideally, I would want to see Train, because the thing is, Alpha Red love playing Train, and even though the loss against MVP PK was 2 days back, it's a different day, it's a final decider map. I would like to see them pick Train and ban out Dust 2. So let's see. It's going to be, I think it is going to be Train coming out here. We have Mirage, we have Inferno. It's a very interesting map pool here. I think all these three maps are maps that both these teams are very comfortable on. But that being said, Mirage, I would definitely give the edge to Alpha Red the way they played yesterday against Greyhound. And of course, Inferno, we haven't seen it yet so far in this tournament, I do believe. I could be wrong here, at least in the best of ones. And there we go, we have Train coming out. So yeah, no surprises here. But if it does go to Train, I'll say this. MVP would have the mental advantage because they did very comfortably beat the Thai team on day one.
So we see the map pool here now, Inferno, Mirage, and Train. What's your thoughts on this one, YB? Who does that favor?
So I think this one favors MVP because I think Inferno, MVP is clearly the upper hand. And Mirage, I think Alpha Red will win actually. And then Train again, you already mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, or before already, MVP already won against Alpha Red, and I think MVP is stronger on Train than Alpha Red. So
I mean,
I think it might be a 2-1 for MVP here.
I actually have a quick question for you, right? Since you have played Alpha Red and MVP on Train, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what's a different play style you saw in those two teams?
So, like, against MVP, like, when their T side was so strong, like, they punished us for every small mistake, and then we crumbled in the beginning, and that's why we lost the game, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, actually, Alpha Red was adjusting faster towards our T play style than MVP. Like, we could win so many rounds continuously because they could not adjust to our play style. But Alpha Red was doing it faster, and then we couldn't like get that lead as T, as we had against MVP, for example. But they had an advantage. They could see our demos, maybe, I don't know. So maybe they could already expect what to expect from us.
Okay.
But I think MVP felt way more solid. Like everything felt more solid from MVP than from Alpha Red.
But one thing I would just want to point out, just add on to what YB said, Jordan, would be the way Alpha Red impressed me yesterday was one small little thing was how decisive they were when they played against Greyhound. When the second rotation is going to happen, you immediately switch over to the other side, you immediately rotate, and most of the times they were just having this amazing information misplays from them, especially the CT side. On the other hand, if you look at MVP, their CT side was just phenomenal. Of course, taking into account that the first game against you guys and Train, that kind of fell flat. But apart from that, the CD side on Dust 2, yesterday we saw it on, what's the second map, I do forget, but the CD side in general, and Nuke, for example, right? They completely shut it down, and they've been looking really, really phenomenal. So it's going to be kind of, I don't want to like generalize it, but it's going to be Alpha Red's T side where they really impressed me on Mirage and an Overpass, and that shutdown in CD side from MVP.
Interested as well to hear you kind of say that you thought it would be Alpha Red that would pick up Mirage there. I kind of go into this series thinking that this should be a 2-0 for MVP. Does anyone?
Yeah, I mean,
am I overrating MVP or underrating Alpha Red?
No.
I would have said that if there was no Greyhound. But the way Alpha Red played yesterday, I have to give them respect. I still think it's going to be an MVP. I still think it's going to be an MVP game. But I would say, MVP do have the slight edge, but Alpha Red can take him out.
All right, well, time to find out as we're ready for map number 1. It's MVP and Alpha Red going head-to-head on Inferno in the grand final. We'll throw it over to our casters.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. So, Alpha Red and MVP. Alpha Red they kind of surprised everybody yesterday with their performance, and the question is, can they do that again? Is this like, I mean, it's such a stark change from what these guys have seen from them before, seeing more of the Asian Counter-Strike, of course. So it's a very weird situation in that respect. They've only, these two rosters have only played each other one time, which was Train, which MVP won very recently at this tournament. So I think it might be wide open, but it's hard to say really for sure.
It's up to Alpha Red to show that yesterday wasn't a flash in the pan. And it wasn't just all the stars aligning, everything going right, and then being able to perform. So, I mean, we already talked about this earlier ourselves off camera, where we were just saying, is Olivia going to be able to manage that same performance, which yesterday was just blowing Greyhound out of the water with the AWP. He took command of the matches by himself, pretty much, always getting his opening frags, very critical, his performance. We're going into an Inferno, and as the first map, and that's always a slow starter for an AWP. Yeah. So he may already be on the cooler for the first map, and that, I mean, I think I agree with YB there. MVP, from what we've seen across the board, they feel like consistently just across the board they have a higher average on their individuals. So, and also they're quite experienced as a team. So I feel like I'm going to edge them here still. But it's a cool storyline for me, James, because really what this is it's once again another story of Alpha Red having to prove to that everybody's wrong, basically.
All right, well, the pistol round has started. MVP are going to be on the CT side, so we can get straight into it. 5 sets of Kevlar for MVP, moving straight down the middle position. This is very aggressive from them, and we did say off camera that I think it's going to be, if you look at the style of Olivia and how the output he had in the previous matches, I think Inferno on both sides is going to be hard to do that against MVP. Starting on a T side as well, it'll be interesting to see how they make a difference, what he can do with an AK-47 over the AWP. And there is Olivia creeping through the apps.
Yes, no frags just yet. First blood still waiting to be drawn as the time runs down. And you do have a lot of time to... Oh, I should say, well, Fox already died. What am I saying, James? I'm telling
lies.
What
are you saying
I'm telling lies once again. Oh dear. Either way, it's going to be Alpha Red looking to get the numbers in. And MVP seem to have read this fairly well. They're just playing a very passive setup on the A bomb side, really accounting for more or less everything. If there was a balcony burst, MVP, they're pretty confident to give up the pit. They won't be isolated. They can play off of the site. The only thing that's really a problem, I think, for MVP in this setup is a wrap through arch side. However, there are two players in that position. And look at this. We're getting a rotation already from Zeta through to Speedway. So there's just two players on the A bomb side. Just a few Glock shots coming in towards the banana position was enough to pull a rotation. The frag comes in as well. And this, everyone's rotating, James. They haven't seen the bomb or anything. This is very unusual.
Yeah, just based on one player, I think with experience, you can see the timing of those two grenades, how separate they were, and realize that it might just be that one guy. So they are out of position. We've got stacks taken out towards the boiler area. The bomb's been planted. No more grenades for Alpha Red. The smoke will soon go towards Arch. So MVP have got the high ground as well. Ooh, that gets taken away very quickly indeed. Now we've got a man advantage for Alpha Red.
HSK will work around the porch position. We'll be able to make it into a 2 versus 2. Zeta closing the distance as well, but now just down to HSK. And this is going to be a tough one. They are not giving him any peeks, and this is absolutely the way to play it. Play the time here, make it really uncomfortable for HSK. He tries to force the issue, but Olivia shuts it down. And Olivia already with a couple frags into the pistol round, so it's good to see that he gets a good start.
Absolutely,
Powering
starting very well indeed. Alpha Red with the pistol round on the T side. I do feel like it's all eyes on Alpha Red with MVP as, I think they're widely regarded as the favorite for this series.
Yeah.
And again, with what we mentioned about Olivia probably not going to have the AWP output on Inferno specifically that we saw him do on the different maps yesterday. So how Alpha Red make up for that and how Olivia is able to perform is going to be very integral to the overall performance of Alpha Red.
Yeah, so it's Force 5 really strong on the CT side of Dusty, but straight away Olivia gets himself a double with the Mac-10. And this has gone very wrong for MVP. This is a spot where you can use those smoke grenades on the CT side to really delay the T side, make things uncomfortable. But already Alpha Red have gained so much positioning on the map. They've got an A bomb site wrap set up here. They should be in just a world of comfort. Just even though there's a kill towards MVP on Banana, we can see the wrap comes in towards the A bomb site. Stacks has to get himself some incredible deagle shots here. He can't really find them. And now there's the bomb down. 4 versus 2.
Because the CT side of MVP went for a force fire at this point, they've lost their best positions in this round, so Zeph can try to hold on to what he has, his armor, his Mac-10, his CZ-75. He's in an aggressive position because there is a great kill bonus with that weapon, so if there's an opportunity, he could even get an AK out of it or something, but I expect that he would probably drop his CZ to one of the other players in the next round and then continue with the Mac-10. That's generally how this should go. So Alpha Red have secured the path towards CT, and that's where they will exit. Really smart stuff. You don't want an AK in isolation just moving away from everybody else. Meryl's just making sure there's no lurker around the site, and that won't be the case. So 4 will survive for Alpha Red. That's great for them. Another money-making opportunity for the likes of Olivia and Foxes. And Zeph should be throwing his CZ over to one of his teammates, and he'll do exactly that. Marvelous stuff. So that gives them 3 weapons in this round. I wouldn't expect them to buy much of anything. Got a smoke on Mini Zeta, a flashbang for HSK. You can do some really nice classic flashes over the B bomb site to make a play once you think the T's have got the top of banana. So look out for that if that's where... No, he's over towards A actually, but Stacks is a flash towards B as well. Gonna flash immediately for the push and... Yeah. Oh, he runs out of bullets. You've got to find that kill, surely.
Yeah, that really sucks. Olivia's been taken out, so there's some damage, but that was the big opportunity, and it's not gone well enough here. The rotation comes in, but the weaponry is a bit appalling.
Why has he got his knife out
Hang
there?
on, yeah, so that makes things a little bit more awkward. Nate's coming in for HSK. He's got a Mac-10, so they're going to reroute themselves towards that A bomb side after just seeing the sign there. And MVP, they're fast to rotate. They really want to be in position. And some guns to be collected. Double max ends.
That kind of thing annoys me because, I mean, yeah, they're not going to lose the rounds, but there is no reason for him to pull his knife out. There's no reason. He's not in a rush. There is no smoke down on CT. He doesn't know what's around the corner, so why would you pull out your knife? There's just no reason for it. All you're doing is risking death, and he will die for his cause, so maybe he'll learn from that one. 3-0 for Alpha Red, a fantastic start from them, but now we see that buy from MVP, the first buy round from them. No AWP for either team just yet, but plenty of utility for MVP, so they've got choices available to them. They could make some aggressive plays or just try to slow down Alpha Red and put them in an awkward situation based on utility. See an early take of the banana area, so we'll see how Alpha Red choose to deal with that. Again, one of the important tests, I think, for any T side is what happens when you lose a player early, when you're 4 versus 5, or when you don't have map control as well. You can see them trying to contest for it, and there is the early 4 versus 5. The late play into Banana was not late enough. And now it's a 3 versus 5, so even bigger tests for Alpha Red to come.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is really cool because MVP, they're once again showing us that they're up to date with the meta, right? Going for those, you start with 3 players towards Banana, you bombard the Banana position with grenades, you weaken the Ts, you prevent them from taking it entirely, you give yourself the ability to have so much information that you can, as you can see in this situation, MVP know there's no one on Banana right now, so they can have 4 players towards the A bomb site. The player on Banana's there. If he's got a smoke in his hand, if he spots someone, he can just drop a smoke and fall into the site safely with that information. So it's a really awkward spot for the Ts. You've got to somehow either fight for map control back, and you can see that that's what's beginning to happen. It's actually Olivia who's got the bomb. He's walking up Banana, but you don't really know what's here. Zeph actually looks like he threw a smoke prematurely. Ooh, Olivia picks up the kill, and here we go. That's a very unusual pick there. Winning that 1 versus 1 is everything. They make it onto the bomb site, and the plant is going to be coming in for Alpha Red, and it's a 2 versus 4 hit. It's unlikely, but it is possible.
Olivia again continues to be a problem. STK doesn't get anything out of this, and now Olivia acquires an ace. There's only 1 kill for him, though, in that particular round. So again, I think it was pretty good timing saying what happens when it's a 4 versus 5 for Alpha Red, but it was quickly made even worse. MVP with a 2nd frag, and that pretty much shut down the round right there. 3 versus 5, very hard when you have no map control on Inferno on the T side. But the question remains, Alpha Red have a plant, which gives them some extra money. They've got plenty of money to buy in this round, so they will try to make a difference versus the likes of MVP. And that was a great round for MVP to make some money as well.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly how those resources are used for MVP. Will they continue to invest in banana control by just carpet bombing it with Molotovs, getting the smokes up, flashes, HEs, the works? Make sure that they have that position at the beginning of every round, because I would be curious to see what Alpha Red's response is to that. And once again, we see 3 players here. We see the aggressive take of Banana, and we can look to this dynamic. Do Alpha Red just go towards the A-bomb site? Do they try to wait out that smoke, retake Banana later on? What is the approach? You don't want to just let the CTs have this for free, and they will start to throw some nades back. You can see the CT is still contesting. There's still some flames to be tossed towards the logs. They want to fight, and a fight they may just get, as Alpha Red are still looking to position here. But look at that. The Incendiary gets a kill, and they fall back on the advantage.
4 versus 5 again. Alpha Red they have enough utility. They've got 1 Molotov. It can be used towards the new box position. The dry peaks may be trying to not reveal their ultimate plan. So they could flash this area, but that might invite a rotation. Now, ideally, you want to get your smoke down towards CT at this point, get a flashbang over the roof. They could go for a dry peek as well if they're feeling confident. There is a molly being lined up for the new box position. There's a smoke towards the coffins, I believe, and 1 towards CT as well. And there's a dry peek from STK. Doesn't quite work out, though. Again, the flashbang might have helped.
Zep, fantastic position, but we'll get sprayed down, and we'll see HSK retreating to construction. So that's a really important position to have. If you prevent it going to the Ts, it gives you a base to retake the bomb site. It's a 4 versus 2, flashes, smokes, and an incendiary for MVP, so they should have all the tools they need to take this. But in comes Olivia from the back. Will be taken down by Sign. He was an absolute monster just yesterday. Now up to Mayrolls. Nice first headshot. So much more to do, and he can't find a good trade coming in from MVP. And I gotta say, James, I think this round was a bit more difficult than it should have been for MVP. I think they missed a trick I think they opened up the round really well, but they never really questioned top mid. And after taking Banana so aggressively, if they had checked top mid around the 1 minute mark, they could have taken a third player towards Banana and had a 3-man defense.
That was a costly round for MVP, but they're still in a good spot for the time being. But one of these teams may be on eco after this round. If Alfred are able to plant the bomb and they lose the round, then maybe not. But that's the second plant in a row for Alpha Red, and they are being really reasonably successful with the bomb plant so far. So we'll see if that continues. They've got about 5k per person, Alpha Red, so while we see the buy from MVP, I'm sure the buy is to come from Alpha Red as well. I wonder if they will discuss the situation towards Banana. They've been smoked out and choked out at the beginning of the rounds so far. Try to contest it relatively early. Not super early, but relatively early. And got caught between Molotovs. How do you catch MVP off guard? MVP, in fact, going for a more default setup. Different setup, actually. Default in terms of 3 players towards the A bomb site. You would have thought Sign was caught in that middle position, but no, he makes it look very easy. And again, another 4 versus 5 early for Alpha Red. They keep losing a man very quickly into these rounds, and then they don't really seem to recover after that.
Yeah, I like this from MVP just because they've mixed up their setups. They showed, again, in the previous rounds, repeated hammering of that Banana position with 3 players at the start of the round. And now they put, instead of having a 3-2 setup, it's a 2-3 setup, which allows them to actually be a bit aggressive towards A. And also, it's Alpha Red. If I was them, I would be thinking about, oh, that's got a bit wrong. That's a bad miss. But I would be thinking if I was Alpha Red, all right, let's just try to go towards top mid at the beginning of the round. They're going to keep going to Banana. And we see the aggression was there, ready to take a kill. So MVP are really, I would say, ahead of the game here as far as understanding what they're conditioning their opponent and then punishing what they think the response will be. And that's really good to see. And as you say, James, continual 5 versus 4s is the result of that.
Alfred creeping up Banana a little bit. MVP moving back to the site. So they lack information. HSK is the only information man. He may have just seen the barrel of a gun. I don't know if the bomb would have been up on the radar there, but look how late this smoke is. They haven't really forced out enough smoke grenades from MVP at this point, and Sign is already expecting, oh, they failed to boost so many times. How many jumps does it take to jump on your teammate's head? Really gave the game away there. And with 14 seconds, they're stuck in the choke point. It's a shooting gallery for Stacks. So a few issues there for Alpha Red. I mean, I don't know how many times he missed a jump. The guy's just crouched, just jump on his head.
I think one of the problems here for Alpha Red so far is that they are sort of struggling to get their default working. And one of the amazing things about sort of being very aggressive on Banana, as we saw from MVP early, is that you kind of, if a team is drilled and routined in doing this default, where you take Banana in apartments at the same time, you come back, you leave it going Banana, you come back with the team to take top middle together. It disrupts all of that. Beautiful pick from HSK down mid. And Alpha Reds, just on Cobx here, so I can continue to make the point. I think one of the adjustments that they need to make is they need to have like these 2-man pushes into the apartments. They need to have a more considered approach towards top mid. We need to see if there is smokes on Banana, a late retakes of this position. You've got to keep MVP guessing, find a way to keep them on the back foot, because they always seem to know, James, what's going on.
Yeah, and we see great realization, great focus from MVP on the economy of Alpha Reds. When you know your opponent doesn't have an AWP, you'll often have the confidence to take a more aggressive peek down the mid area. Great flick on the player jumping into the pit as well. So Alpha Red with a balcony flashbang. Standard stuff, vintage stuff. Stacks is ready with his off angle. Sign is here as well. They've got a good crossfire. We've seen some nice setups from MVP over towards the A bomb site, and this is completely pedestrian for them, as it should be. No one's touched in that round for MVP. Again, with the rounds where they've survived with only 1 player, really important to have a nice clean round like that. MVP now in the lead. It is 4 rounds in a row for MVP. Alpha Red, I would say 1 step at a time in this round, but the first step is don't lose a player early. That has been the story of these T rounds so far in the buy versus the buy. So ideally, they want to be able to avoid that.
And here we see, he's just going in before the smoke balloons. That is crazy. There was no one there for Alpha Red. And at the same time, we see a push in middle. Sign getting some action with Zeta. And they are, you say don't lose 1 at the beginning of the round, James. They lost 2. So it's not gone very well. SDK, what a beautiful flash for Stacks there to peek into the apartments. You just have to watch and appreciate the team play here from MVP, the aggressive timings that they're using.
There's taking the game away from your opponent, and then there's just launching your opponent into the sun, which is more or less what just happened in this round. Absolutely beautiful stuff. MVP feeling very confident with the peaks down the middle position. Absolutely crazy. Alpha Red look like they might be out of ideas at the moment. They just don't seem to be prepared for these early round plays from MVP.
One of the things we see on the very top level is you'll see that it can be very favorable for the CTs to have 3 members on Banana, and you forcibly take that position with your incredible amounts of utility and so on. But we do see teams who, if they get a good spawn, especially on the top level, they'll still try and just actually bombard, like just try to rush Banana with a few players, try to get a good timing, try to pick that first CT by just challenging the half wall and just throwing all the nades in and just trying to take that position away first, because that way you get to take the initiative, which is very important in Counter-Strike, and you get to force the CTs back defensively immediately. You don't let them ever have any information. I would really like to see Alpha Red on their next buy, James, just go very aggressive towards Banana and just try to make that work.
I think we saw a bunch of grenades thrown down mid from the CTs in the beginning of this round. Again, reading maybe an aggressive play from Alpha Red, like a rush or something. And I would have liked to have seen that attempted, so my strat would have been carpet bombs if it was towards mid at the very least. And now, okay, I was going to say you can throw a flashbang into this position, but Olivia did exactly that. There's a pop flash from Zeph to buy some time for the rotation. He was there on his lonesome, but Zeph has rotated towards the coffin's position now, so that bought exactly enough time for MVP to have a 7-foot crossfire. You don't want to peek too deep towards the pool though, because they're only showing their heads there, so that isn't the most favorable engagement to take, and now the bomb might just get planted, which would be a bonus for Alpha Red.
Indeed, there's no HEs or incendiaries to deny this.
Ooh, he's standing here with the bomb.
Oh
and
god.
There was a smoke on CT, now the smoke is gone, so they had a chance to plant a bomb, and instead, I mean, in fairness, they're playing for the round win, right? So, but it's not gonna, if you don't get peaked in time, then you don't get that bonus money. They can buy regardless. It was a half buy for them, so they've got plenty of cash, but you can have a little bit more, which might give you an extra buy down the line if you keep losing rounds. But again, I don't think there was necessarily a bad choice, just a different choice in that situation. So I ask again, Alpha Red, can you avoid getting 1 or 2 people taken out early at the beginning of this round? Maybe then you could show something of yourselves, because beyond the first 3 rounds, it has been all MVP.
Absolutely, the MVP doing a fantastic job in just dictating the pace, taking initiative, as you said, taking the game away from Alpha Red. And Alpha Red is playing reactively. It's almost as though Alpha Red are playing the CT side, where they're at the mercy of all of their opponent's actions. And that's like the first state. That's the thing that you need to fix immediately. You've got to stop the CTs from being able to do that, so that you put them into a situation where they don't know what's going on. They have to make pot flash plays to try to get information later on in the round. Put them in the dark, as opposed to it being the other way around. And again, I really want to see Alpha Red just going for a fast timing towards Banana with a few. It's enough to be the whole team, but like 3 players, throw the nades up there, try to deny that position, and they won't go for that. Sometimes you can get quite fortunate when you do go for plays like that. You can just get that first pick and then it snowballs. And wow, just look at this. This is so bold from Zeth. Just walking down Banana. This is so. Oh, this could be so devastating. What's the play here? Oh no, Meryl's just going to miss this. Is this going to be showing? Yes, it is. And Zeth gets the kill, almost finding another one, but it's going to be Zeth who finishes it off. And
what was Olivia doing?
I don't know.
Because he was down the T ramp, but he didn't seem to be peeking people coming out of Banana. So they just weren't watching it. Alpha Red, and again they've got issues. Yes, Zeta's been taken out, but they've only got 3 players remaining, and I don't know that they've had any success when they've had 3 players versus more so far in this half. So I'm confused as to, like, if he's going to stand on T ramp, then how could a CT walk into the bottom of mid and take his teammates out? What is his purpose of being there?
The incendiaries use delay. Rotation can come in. HSK will be making his way over, and this is how you do it. Play for information Banana later in the round. Again, CTs constantly just have all the information. They know what's coming, and it's going to be up to Alpha Red to just hit some excellent shots. HSK on the angle. Is there anything there to deny him? No flashbangs or anything like that. So the Orb will pick up the first kill. The Incendiary slows them down, and they're stuck in the mud here. And there is a timer to this because the flank is coming in very quickly. FTZ and Fox going to be struggling. Nice transfer there, gets the dink. After being traded, Fox gets eliminated there from Banana, and MVP with another round, James. Since the pistol, Alpha Red have looked like a fish out of water. And once again, they are being exploited by their lack of banana control. And MVP seem to realize that they can just walk down without any nades, which is, that's a strong statement. That needs to be punished.
Yeah, I find it strange that they just took a tactical timeout and then didn't watch Banana at all. I don't know, that seems bizarre to me. Now let's see what they can do in this particular round. Quickly into the Banana position. Here come the usual grenades. Oh, now we've got problems there, but they'll quickly be extinguished. And MVP will continue their aggression. There'll be a spray, a peek towards the trees, and now there's maybe problems. They'll have to be forced away MVP around the corner. And now it's Alpha Red's turn to try and capitalize on something. 4 versus 3. This is the kind of thing they were looking for. Now they have Alpha Red. They have 3 flashbangs, so they can get something over the roof when they peek the B bomb site. They could go for the dry peek, but they did that last round. Got taken out by an AWP, so I would like to see a flashbang from them.
Look at the gamble stack coming in from MVP as well. HSK, they're trying to take a very quick peek here. Look how aggressive they are. The fantastic shot from HSK. And Alpha Red, they were doing everything right, just going for that banana position, but I think maybe they were a bit too slow. And once again, MVP, James, they're able to take the initiative away from Alpha Red, despite Alpha Red getting that advantage. And that is a huge problem. But again, you have to credit the fact that MVP have the individuals to do this. HSK, beautiful AWP work there to convert the round.
Yeah, it seems there's some hesitation from Alpha Red, which is interesting because yesterday we credited how decisive they were. In fairness, they were different maps, but it seems if you compare the two, MVP's decision-making is very, very quick in that scenario. They know, like, what is our best way to win this round? Put everybody on one side, push and get some advantage back, and that's exactly what they did. It seemed that Alpha Red were hesitating just outside, around the corner from B. They just took out 2 players there. They could put a flash over the roof, throw smoke, see if there's a reaction, but it seems that they may not be as drilled on Inferno as they are on other maps, because that seemed to come naturally to them on the series that we saw yesterday, but not so much for Inferno. So indeed, this does look like a very strong pick for MVP.
Yeah, I agree completely. There's a lot of situations where on Mirage and Overpass, Alpha Red knew exactly how to react. And I'm talking about situations where the opponent's doing something very well and really ruining your initial plan of the round. Alpha Red, as you said, they were decisive. They knew exactly how to change their plans, and everyone's on the same page immediately. But here it seems like everyone gets, they have a plan, it gets blown up, but then they just get stuck in the mud and it's not sure what to do. A couple missed shots there, but won't matter too much. So much information in this round for MVP with the aggressive opening that they chose. Really cool to see. One thing that's exciting is from MVP is the aggression. I really like how aggressive Sign is, but in particular, yesterday we saw him make some very bold plays. Nice headshot coming in from Fox, but it really is just a consolation kill. The money is out of control already for MVP, and for Alpha Red, it's all about the rounds. And there's one thing that you can do as well on Banana that we haven't seen Alpha Red do. So you don't have to necessarily try to just take all the nades. You can try to run past the nades if you have a good spawn, and you can catch a player with a nade in his hand. Very often it can be an unexpected peak. So it would be cool if we could see something like that. Need to get a good, have your best entry fragger on the case, but it can work very well sometimes.
Yeah, you might need a smoke grenade from Molly at the top of Banana, but if you can bounce the flashbangs behind the half wall at the same time, then there is a chance. All right, a minute 36, and no one yet has been fragged for Alpha Red. Nobody is watching Banana once again, but Olivier is making his way towards the crawl space, and there is a smoke down at the bottom of Banana, which I'm sure they heard. We have a 4th player rotating over towards A, as per usual. Zeph left on Banana with a smoke to redeploy, so it will be a 5 versus 4 should they choose to execute into the A bomb site, but at least they have the 5. There's a balcony burst from them. Again, we've got the off angles, a similar setup from MVP, but can Alpha Red deal with it this time?
Yeah, looking like the answer is a firm yes, James. Stax and Sign really holding it down on the bomb site and the pit, respectively. The ult coming in as well from HSK to do the damage he needs to do. And Olivia starts to creep. And we've seen how good he can be. Can he find himself anything here? Well, there's the setup. It's very strong. 10-3 is the score as MVP continue their dominance. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing from MVP so far. They're playing a great Inferno, James.
Absolutely. I think Alpha Red should have enough evidence to identify the regular setup for MVP on the A bomb site. That said, I don't know if they will be able to do anything about it on the fly, because it seems like they're struggling with the basics on the T side of Inferno. So to go deeper into trying to figure something like that out might be too much to ask, but they are on the bye once again. Round 14, second last round of the first half, and they might just make it up banana. We don't have the Molotovs just yet. They are quite delayed. KNTZ slowed down by the grenades and wrecked by them as well. Oh my god, this is not what we were expecting when they started to move up. Absolutely deleted by MVP. Almost a non-rounds. Mayor rolls, maybe time to tip over to King and just start again in the next round.
Absolutely. It was a good effort, but did not pan out for them. And sometimes, you know, that is a gamble because it's based off your spawns. You're hoping maybe they only played 2 on banana in that round, and so on and so forth. But it is something that can work very effectively, especially if the players behind the entry fragger are able to support with utility in the right way. Can work out and give you the early advantage, but not in this case. MVP locking it down, and Alpha Red really out of ideas. They're struggling to again take the game back into their own hands. MVP are the ones throwing the incendiaries at the beginning of the rounds. They're the ones getting map control at the beginning of the round. They're the ones rushing mid at the beginning of the round.
A mid take from the CT side of MVP, and why not? It's a great way to start a series from them. Are they going to go beyond it? I see pop flashes. Okay, Mayor rolls will be traded, so indeed they went all the way towards T-Ramp, and this takes the game away from Alpha Red again. Despite the kill Alpha Red have got, MVP have got 2. Now they've got to spend time wondering if anybody's in mid or hiding somewhere in a crazy spot for MVP. But MVP will sit back and wait for their 12th round. Another frag unanswered, no trades, no nothing for Alpha Red. 2 versus 4 now.
They're bleeding out slowly but surely here on Inferno. Alpha Reds, SDK and KNTZ to perhaps get something, eke out that last round as we are now at the end of the first half. Can they find a way to do so? Yeah, do have some positioning, but the bomb is very far away, and that's kind of an issue in a situation like this. Someone needs to really have the bomb. It's in the T apartments, so if you don't have it, your only option to win the round, of course, is to win by elimination, and that is not so favorable. And there is a backstab from Stax and KNTZ in an impossible scenario, but you have to go for it. Obviously, it's the last round of the first half. Can he at least get some nice kills, get himself, you know, feeling it as he moves into the next half? Flank is coming, he hears that as well, and really difficult to win this, and there you go. 12-3, MVP, fantastic CT side of Inferno, showing that not only do they have a lot of routine, they're a studied team, they're a confident team.
We are into the pistol round now, so this is a must-win from Alpha Red. They need to start their economy right. They will have a rotation of a second and third player towards that B-bomb site. Now MVP have clear ideas in mind. They've got Zeph and HSK, both with flashes and smoke grenades, and a P250 as well. So this will be a reactive game, I think, for the most part, but we've got a pop flash play. So far, so good for Alpha Red. It's a big response from HSK. Again, he's one of the utility men as well, so he can't really afford to get taken out, and that's exactly what will happen.
Yeah, 3 versus 4 for the side of MVP, but when you're on the T side, losing or not being good on the numbers game, it's not the end of the world. You get to pick where you attack, and they're going to attack into a 3 versus 2 here. Ooh, Olivia missing a couple of shots there. Will redeem himself immediately. Now down to KNTZ on the bomb site to deny the plant, and there will be a plant here. This is good work from the remainder of MVP. 2 versus 3 post plant, a real shot for them, but in comes Olivia from the balcony. He may be the difference.
1 player top mid. MVP looking to force the issue top mid and improve numbers for themselves. Getting great game sense from them, knowing they have the sense of urgency, and they're the 2 frags for them. Mayor rolls going for the fake now. Didn't have time, and there's a big headshot straight in the face, and MVP win the pistol. There was a chance for Alpha Red, but again, MVP, I think they're just ahead in terms of individual game sense. Together, they understand we're 2 versus 3. Let's combine our efforts, move up back towards top mid, take the players out. They have two of them. If they move together, there's a fair chance they see one player. 2 versus 1 is favorable, generally speaking. Worst case scenario, hopefully you trade. Best case scenario, you just take a player out. So they combine the forces and make it work for themselves. And in that respect, things like that make a hell of a difference on any map, really. And they have been doing so on this map in particular. 13-3 for MVP. We've seen a force buy for Alpha Red. Not the first time we've seen a Nova in this tournament. Never a bad sight. Well, I mean, it is for the people using it, but it's always enjoyable to watch. So whoever peeks Boiler may just take a lot of shotgun shells to space.
I think Zeta just got shot by HSK there. Just shot at his teammate in the back, unprompted. The Deagle needs to do everything here. He's got to do everything. But so far, not too much. I like this harassment. This might even pull a player potentially, but because Alpha Red have top middle, they can have some more information as to what's going on. Dink made, but the shot in return onto Olivia. That's Nova not doing too much from that range.
I can quickly note that we saw MVP throw a smoke grenade towards the B bomb site to just invite the utility from Alpha Red, which is exactly what happened. And even if they wanted to push B, they'd still have enough time to deal with things. They are, however, moving into, I wouldn't say a stack, there's 3 versus 2, but damage is being done. KNTZ not quite being checked for just yet, but now the site's being cleared. And look at the time on the clock. Yes, they had some problems, but there's 30 seconds for error correction to plant the bomb. But again, we spoke about the T side for Alpha Red, and when they were making plays towards the B bomb side, we didn't really see them even try to bait grenades in response from the CT side. MVP did that in this round, so there are some examples that they can learn from. And this might be a quick one. We're looking at MVP heading towards 14. Alpha Red trying to do what they can. No diffuse kit though, so they've just got to try and hold on to this for the next round.
Yeah, great start from MVP. It's not as easy as it looks sometimes to run an anti-force spy, especially against against the CT side on Inferno. To get the words out. It's perhaps the strongest map, I think, for a CT side to run a force spy, just because of all the choke points. The power of the utility is very strong, and it takes a lot of coordination. We see sometimes, very high-level teams, messing it up. And so it's good to see that MVP do indeed have that coordination. As you said, James, they had a good pacing into the round, giving themselves enough time for error correction. That's one of the most common mistakes made, and they did not make it. So moving into round 18, Alpha Red with an economy that's leaving a lot to be desired.
It is an SMG party with Foxes on the CZ75, so we'll see how this one plays out. Just need a game sound up, and we will be golden. MVP starting slow. We've got a smoke towards top mid. Merols will be peeking the banana area. So this has been secured for now. Some spray from Zeph. And there's still plenty of time for MVP, minute 20 on the clock. So again, they just want to exhaust what little utility Alpha Red have. Alpha Red spent most of it on that banana take, but they've got nothing to keep banana.
But they do have Meryl spotting there, but if MVP take it quickly, then that won't make much of a difference. He doesn't have a smoke to drop Meryl. It's just a flashbang to delay, which may not cover it, may not cut it. MVP now, there is a flashbang. That flashbang is really important because if there's a round where you do have one player spotting and he's just peeking like that, the flashbang absolutely forces him back. Even if it's an AWP, the one flash just forces that player back. And so again, we're seeing good fundamentals on Inferno from MVP. So I will take down one in the apartments, and that's going to occupy the attention of 2 players on the A-bomb site, leaving only 2 to defend the B-bomb site against 4 Ts that will be coming in with rifles and utility. So it's going to be very tough to hold this B-bomb site.
They've isolated the player on the site as well. Shorted into the number 10 to trade. Worst case scenario. Got 2 frags for either side, but there's no CTs left on the B bomb site. They're out of position, and they may feel compelled to go for this because they're going to be against game point. Otherwise, they don't have the defuse kit. They don't have range to take those duels with the weapons they have. So this is really worst case scenario. KNTZ will try to maybe get a rifle out of this. You have to wonder if this is a worthwhile. It's not enough for him to get a kill. He has to survive because they have no money. They're playing against game points. So we'll see how this works out. So far, so good. Don't want to peek too deep. The bomb explosion will send the gun in his direction, but now he's backing away from the weapon. So that's an unusual one. He is being hunted though. So yeah, that's a weird risk because MVP can buy regardless. But anyway, I guess he's hiding in plain sight, picks one off, and then it buys more time for him to save elsewhere. Game points, MVP. They've got 12 game points, and there will be some rifles, some AUGs for Alpha Red, but they will need all kinds of crazy aggression in order to come back in this one.
Here we go. Last chance saloon coming in for Alpha Red indeed. Max 7 has been brought to bay, and that definitely is a sign of desperate times. Get the grenades in from the CTs here, so starting out with 3 on Banana, showing that they have the nades as well for that position. And I'll be curious what the response is from MVP. Smoke top mid as well. And SDK will go deep on Banana for the... Oh, okay, wait to go back now. Perhaps just making some sound cues towards logs as a fake, should there be any Ts close by. And you can see that MVP are actually waiting at the bottom of mid, so that indicates that they're looking to retake this Banana position away. At the same time, they can be taking apartments with 2 players. 2 players is an effective way to do it. You can have one guy going in through the window or the balcony and one guy going through up the steps. And that's a good way to do it. If you have good timing, then it's easy to trade the CTs there. However, MVP actually are going for a top mid take, not really messing with Banana. Olivier might be flashed through here, looking to try to get some value out of this Mag 7. This is on tender hooks right now.
He can hear the tricks being deployed, and he will get absolutely wrecked. Standing in the smoke, not working out. The numbers game overwhelming for MVP. That leaves KNTZ towards the A bomb site, and we've got the CTs rotating off of B. Is it going to work out? No, the trade will continue to favor MVP. STK by the tree position. Does he let the first play go past? Well, they will check for him. I think there might have been some pre-fight error as well. Absolutely beautiful attention to detail from MVP. KNTZ comes towards that Banana position, smoked off, has to push through the smoke. He'll be spotted, but Zeph starts to fall back. Zeph in for a 1v1, and that'll be enough. That will be enough for a dominating deletion on Inferno. That was all MVP. Seems they won it before the pistol round started, and it will be a long road to recovery for Alpha Red.
Absolutely, really good performance from MVP. Impressive stuff. What a way to start the series. And it's a rough one for Alpha Red. James, the underdogs, they're coming in from behind now. And, one silver lining is that they will be moving to Mirage. I think it's a map which, of course, suits them very well. So Olivia will have more space to move at least.
I think that with how the veto went down, Alpha Red have to be expecting to win it in 3 maps rather than 2. So I don't think they'll be remotely upset with that at all. Now we're going to be going to a break. When we're back, we'll have some thoughts of the analyst desk. So stay tuned. We will be back very shortly indeed.